Not too much to talk about, but I still got to get paid. Big Deke news. Now, we do have some stuff to talk about, but my main point is it's all for naught if we don't win on Sunday. Like, I'm just at the point with this team in terms of some of this minutia in between. What does it even matter? If we ain't winning, we ain't getting the job done on Sunday because the talk is cheap. It's just gotten to the point where all I'm hearing is, yeah, we got to change, we got to execute better, this and that. It's just talk. Some of these little trades, some of these little acquisitions we're discussing, bringing in Kyle Duggar, potentially MVS. What does it matter? What does it matter if we ain't winning on Sunday, if we ain't playing better, if we ain't performing to the actual standard that is being a Pittsburgh Steeler, not this recent one of mediocrity. But anyway, some general housekeeping. DeShon Elliott is going to be on IR. Tomlin kind of just straight up lied to us, I guess, in his press conference.
Is week to week a fair standard to describe him?
It is.
And saying that he was going to be week to week. So who knows? Maybe Tomlin's lying about some other stuff too, and he's known to do that, give some misinformation, probably on purpose. So whenever he said we got to keep doing what we're doing but better.
We just got to keep doing what we're doing and do it better.
Maybe he's lying about that. Maybe he actually means we do have to change some stuff up, but he's just saying that to say it and lying to the media's face. But Elliott's going to be out for a month, which makes, in my opinion, the Kyle Duggar move that much better because we get an immediate replacement for DeShon Elliott for these next 4 weeks, but also a guy that I think, since we went out of our way to trade for him, is going to be a piece that maintains a role in the defense even when Elliott gets back due to Kyle Duggar's versatility. But what makes the trade even better is we got more contract details that came out, and apparently the Steelers don't have to worry about anything with Duggar's contract past 2025, because that was one of the snags I was thinking about whenever the trade initially went down. It's like Duggar's contract, that big contract that he signed last offseason, is part of the reason why the Patriots wanted to move off him, that and that he wasn't a scheme fit anymore in Vrabel's system. So what are the Steelers going to have to pay in 2026, 2027? He has some big cap hits, but I guess Omar Khan, the Patriots, worked something out to where those last 2 years, nothing's guaranteed, and we could break clean if things don't work out in 2025 from Duggar. So I like the move even more. I'll bump the grade up and how I view this from, I think, did I initially say like a C+ or like a B, B-? I'll move it up to an A- because, again, with Elliott's injury being worse than what Tomlin led on and Duggar's contract being only for the 2025 season, Steelers only have to worry about that salary and not 2026 and 2027. I think it's low risk, high reward type of move because Duggar should be an upgrade automatically over what we have in-house with Chuck Clark, Juan Thornhill, and who else? Jabril Peppers. But I also think, again, when Elliott comes back, he should still be a versatile piece that we could keep on the field, whether it's slot, safety, or in the box, whatever. And then other thing that, in terms of just housekeeping, general updates, MVS. Obviously, it was reported that he was signing with the Steelers. That ultimately didn't happen. Aaron Rodgers gave us a hint as to why the signing ultimately didn't happen in his press conference yesterday.
I love MVS. I've always enjoyed playing with him. He's one of my favorite teammates of all time. He is a really special guy, and I think MVS can still really play. You saw last year when he was in New Orleans, he had opportunities. He had a lot of big touchdowns. He can still run. I think MVS wants to be on an active roster. So if there wasn't an opportunity here for that, then I guess he's waiting for something else. But I don't fault him. I love MVS, and whether he's here or somewhere else, I'm always pulling for him.
Now, is it right or wrong for us not to have an active roster spot for MVS? Obviously, Rodgers would want to have him. He was talking about him probably a little bit too glowingly there for what MVS has accomplished and what he's even done recently. But there's a connection, and obviously MVS has a specific skill that he could be a deep threat. And I do think that could help the offense a little bit, but I'm starting to see Roman Wilson emerge. You have your top two, Calvin Austin, DK Metcalf. We utilize the tight ends. I don't know how much MVS really makes a difference. at this point outside of being just some extra familiarity for Aaron Rodgers. I don't think we should be going out of our way to get him on the field and take like a Roman Wilson off of it or a Darnell Washington off the field just to get MVS out there, especially, too, if we have potentially another trade that could happen before this trade deadline and adding another receiver. And I don't even know how much that's needed anymore, seeing with how bad our defense has been, particularly the secondary. That might be the move, or some sort of change in the secondary defense might need to be the move or priority over bringing in another receiver. I liked what Roman Wilson was doing, man. Like, touchdown last week, 70-something yards. Aaron Rodgers seems to be building more rapport with him, building more confidence with Roman Wilson being out on the field, and we know he's a talent. We drafted him in the 3rd round for a reason. I don't really know if MVS makes a difference. Now, I think it could have been a nice pickup if Scotty – I don't know what's going on with Scotty Miller and his injury. That's what I'm thinking with an MVS sign. At least it would be depth. At least it could be your 4th or 5th receiver. But, we got Skoranek out there as, our blocking receiver. We like him. Scotty Miller. Yeah, I think, you know what? I think MVS would be an upgrade over Scotty Miller as, our 4th receiver. So I wouldn't be opposed to the signing, but I still want to see what we do at the trade deadline. And that's why probably we're seeing some reports from a guy like Jordan Schultz saying, look for the signing to happen next week. Maybe the Steelers just want to gather more intel with the offense and some of these personnel groupings and even a Roman Wilson, see if he could replicate things for another week before making a big move. And if they don't make a big move at the trade deadline, maybe they feel like signing MVS is suffice for the receiver room. But now let's switch to defense. Looks like we got confirmation on who's calling the plays. That's been up for debate. And I think more recently, I've said that, listen, it doesn't look like Tomlin's got a play sheet out there, is talking into the mic consistently and calling the plays. I think it is Teryl Austin. We know Tomlin has a certain amount of influence on this defense, but I think Teryl Austin's calling the plays. And we got pretty much confirmation of that from the man himself.
It's been the same since I've been in this chair. I'm calling it. And if Mike wants to call something, he calls it, and that's how we roll. That's how it's been.
So, yeah, we should have fired Teryl Austin, and if the defense doesn't pick it up anytime soon, then clear as day that we should fire Teryl Austin because he's the one calling the plays. Not that complicated then. Not that complicated. We got some clarity there because that's the question, right? And it still may be the question because Tomlin is the head coach and a lot of this falls back on him no matter what, being the leader. And we said that with Matt Canada. With Matt Canada and our offense being bottom of the league and incompetent, looking like we were so far behind the times, we knew Tomlin wasn't calling the plays and he's more of a defensive-minded head coach. But because you're the head coach, it's either you're going to put a stop to what's going on with the offense and make a change, or you're going to continue to allow it. So the same could be said with Teryl Austin and him calling the plays. It's either you're going to keep allowing this to happen or it's time to make a change and something needs to give. A switch-up needs to happen. But I guess you could still debate a little bit Tomlin's influence over the defense even by getting rid of Teryl Austin. Is it really going to change? Is this Tomlin's defense and Teryl Austin's just calling the plays and working within the confines of Tomlin's system? Or is it more Teryl Austin's system? Tomlin has his influence and say at times, once this play called or once things tweak this way or that way. I think that's still up for debate, but either way, if it's clear as day. If things don't get better and don't get better fast, we got to do what we did with Matt Canada a couple years ago and make a change at the coordinator position. But now Cam Heyward, Steelers leader on defense, is saying it's not necessarily the schemes and the play calls and stuff. It's more about the players executing.
Good teams can be simple, get it done, rally to the ball. You can show different coverages, you can move around, you can stem. But I don't think it comes down to X's and O's. I think it just comes down to execution and finishing plays.
I think we've heard the same thing over the last 2-3 years. The most overused word in football, and not even the Steelers. You hear it in everyone's press conference. We just got to execute better. Of course you got to play better, of course. But we keep hearing the same things with these Steeler players, no matter if it's been offense or defense, over the last 3 or 4 years. It's just getting tiring. It's falling on deaf ears. I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't. So, all right, if it's not the scheme or the play calling, which definitely a portion of it of it is, I don't think there's a question of it, then it's on the players. And if it's on the players, then something's got to give there. I think there's some changes to be made. And some of the ones I would recommend after having a couple days removed from the last week's game is I would get Cory Trice on the field. And I'm seeing that he's returning to practice. Dude, why not? Darius Slay ain't getting it done. We need to make a change in the secondary. I think we need to get younger. We need to get faster, more spry. And Cory Trice could be the answer. The problem with him is the dude can't stay healthy. I feel like when he's on the field, he makes plays and it's been solid for us. Even going back to last year, and I'm going to do this comparison to this year when we played Ja'Marr Chase. Last year at the end of the season, week 18, Cory Trice was on the, he was one of our starting cornerbacks. He was on the field like 90% of the time. He was matched up against Ja'Marr Chase a decent amount. It wasn't Trice's best game or anything, and how could you expect that to be the case given you're going up against the number one receiver in the league pretty much? But Ja'Marr Chase was actually held in check more than what he was more recently on Thursday Night Football a couple weeks ago. Only 10 receptions, 96 yards, and a touchdown. Versus, what did we see? 16 catches, 160 yards, and a touchdown for Ja'Marr Chase Thursday Night Football. And the defense in that Week 18 game only gave up 19 points versus, and that was with Joe Burrow, versus what we gave up on Thursday Night Football, the 30-plus against Flacco, coming in there 2 weeks off the streets. So why not? What do we have to lose? Throw in Cory Trice. See what he could do. Big physical corner. It's time. I think we are at that point. Changes need to happen. That is one I would suggest right there. Cory Trice. Get another dude that's more on the younger side out there and can provide actually some youth to this defense. And get Kyle Duggar out there too. There's a reason you traded for him. Why not? He's a guy that could cover some of these tight ends. He's a guy that could play the slot, can be the replacement for DeShon Elliott while he's out for these next 4 weeks. I think those might provide an actual spark to this secondary, might provide a spark for this defense. Because outside of that, if you're not getting rid of Teryl Austin and Cam saying it's not the scheme, it's the players, all right, these are some player changes that need to happen then. Get Brandon Echols out there more. It might be time to trade Darius Slay, and Brooke Pryor wrote an article about it saying that there's been a lot of issues with this defense, and some of it stems with Darius Slay being out of position, not giving the best effort, and it just not working out to the degree that we thought whenever we signed him. So maybe he's a guy that it's either we bench him or, we give him a significant amount of less snaps, or potentially we trade him. We're actually sellers at the trade deadline with the Darius Slay. I know we're going to be talking about us being buyers and maybe getting a guy on defense or getting that extra receiver, and we've been talking about that, but maybe moving on from Darius Slay and bringing a more of a youth movement to this defense is actually one of the things we need and one of the changes that need to be made. I'm throwing it out there. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea at all, but let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Hope you guys enjoyed this edition of Big Deke News. Might go live for Steelers-Colts Week 9 preview tomorrow. I'll let you know. If I do, I'm thinking noon. If not, you'll just get kind of a normal Big Deke News video with the preview. But I'm thinking the Friday live. I think that could be the vibes. So stay chilling. Again, hope you enjoyed. Peace.